Welcome, everyone, to People on Dating. I'm your host, Will Morales. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this podcast is about the ups and downs of dating and how to navigate through it. Today, my guest is Renelle Nelson. She's a certified sex therapist and relationship expert, and she's obsessed with the psychology behind relationships, infidelity, and sex. And definitely have more of a bio in the show notes. First of all, Renelle, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. How are you?
I am good. Thank you so much for having me.
No, it's my pleasure. And today's a good subject. What makes a man good in bed? But before we get to that, tell me a little bit about yourself. What was your journey like to become a sex therapist, a relationship expert? All things about sex. What was that
Yeah.
journey like? What was that aha moment
So,
for Renelle Nelson?
so, so I think it started when I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I started off working with families. But
Hmm.
as I was working with families, I saw the need to work with the dyad, the primary
Hmm.
support for the families, because that's where everything was educated from, and that's where the kids learn from. So when I started working with couples, it got deeper into a lot of stuff. And communication, betrayal, and intimacy. I think my sex journey is that I was in school being an LMFT, and I had a teacher who said we need more people like you, meaning Black women, to
Hmm.
talk more about sex. So that started my sex therapy venture and being certified with ASEC. What started me with infidelity is that I was trying to teach more people about desire and sex and everything like that, but they didn't feel deserving. They didn't feel like they could do it because they had a lot of betrayal wounds. They didn't know what that looked like. So that made me, especially with my own um, personal history with betrayal and how betrayal and sex was talking about in my own community, that's what made me go more into the betrayal to see how can we heal the wounds to love again. So that's
Hmm.
why you hear me talk about now, I combine the two and I talk about pleasure after betrayal with couples.
Right. Okay. No, that's some journey. And and like I said before, the topic is good. I think it's a great topic. What makes a man good in bed? I think the stigma. I wouldn't say that a stigma, but like some women that I talk to, and it's not even like a major survey I did. I remember I talked to a few women, and a lot of the times the women will always say that if the man pays attention to more of her body and what she likes and what she feels, that the man can make a woman orgasm. I read a story that I think it was 60, 70% of women don't orgasm from from
Penetrative.
penetration. I was like, what? And when I read this story, it's all about the foreplay and more than that. But so, Renelle, what makes a man good in bed? If you could give us a couple of steps, and then I'll chime in with my 2 cents.
Okay, I think what makes a man good in bed is how he works outside the bedroom. I
Mm,
think making sure the person that they're interested in seems like a priority, making sure they feel seen and heard, making sure that conversations are good, the eroticism is there. So I think very key to detail outside the bedroom, very nurturing, very curious and everything like that. So I would say what makes a man good in the bedroom is how he handle himself outside the bedroom, because so many times I work with couples and they put so much pressure on sex because sex have to mean so much because that's the
mm,
only time they feel seen and heard.
right.
So sex become more of a performance instead of an experience. If we do a lot of the stuff outside the bedroom, then we can have amazing experiences inside the bedroom because a lot of the heavy lifting is done and we just really enhancing what we already have.
Wow. So, what are some examples of the outside of the bedroom? Is it like sexting or
I think
calling?
that eroticism is there. I think
Okay.
foreplay all day. I think not just when I
Mm,
want to have sex, I'm paying attention to your mind, body, soul, and spirit. I'm asking who you are, what you want to be, your desires, your fantasies. I think every day just being attuned to who you are instead of not when I just want to have sex, but period.
Yeah.
because that's when we put so much pressure on sex, because sex have to be everything. I got to give her an orgasm. I got to do this and that. And then it become a lot of men get performance anxiety is because they have to show all of this stuff in when they have intercourse. But if they show a lot of outside, the woman is already turned on.
Oh wow. Okay. And I think well, you're definitely absolutely right because I know when I talk to some of my male friends, and I've been through this, where you feel like you got to perform and all that, and then you psych yourself out. But if you, in your opinion, right, in your studies and things that you've done or talked to, is just getting her warmed up, basically, right?
Just get it. I
Yeah.
think foreplay is all day. I don't think it's just one
Okay.
thing. I think it's how you feel, how you emotionally connected, how you see me, how you
Yeah.
desire me.
Okay.
How you yearn for me. I think that's what make me or women aroused.
Hmm.
So it's not like when you get in the bedroom, you got to go from cold. You already warm when you go in the bedroom. So it's
Oh.
not like when you go in the bedroom, I got to start from scratch, trying to warm you up. I already warmed you up. You always seen and heard, and you feel safe. Safety is
Mm.
made outside the bedroom, not inside. So then when we get in the bedroom, we can have the freedom to experience different things. If I don't feel safe, that's a jam packed in that bedroom. That bedroom is full of stuff, right? So
Right.
that's why
Yeah.
I'm just saying sometimes we have to work on it in and outside the bedroom.
Okay. Now, one of the things I'm pretty sure you probably gotten this before for a man is the size of his tool. Um, does that make a difference, or is yeah? Go ahead.
Um,
I can see you spinning.
You know what? I'm a woman and I work with a lot of women. I don't think it is because I think that women go based on feelings. I
Okay.
think you notice this as a man and what you hear when women fall out of love, then they more centered on the genitalia,
Okay.
right? But when they're in love, they just in that feeling and the experience. But when they fall out of love or don't feel like they feeling seen or just tired of the performance sex, then I think it goes to the genitalia. So I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter when you feel connected. You're gonna make it work because it's the experience that you're trying to create, not just the performance. So if we have like a small penis or too large of a penis, we gonna talk outside so we can feel safe, you know, experience in different positions and everything. So a lot of that stuff happens outside the bedroom and feeling safe. But I think that the size and the girth of the penis, it can matter, but not if we have good communication and we making sure we have an amazing experience despite that. Because then we're not just so focused on our genitalia. We focus on the energy. We got
Hmm.
fingers, we got mouths, the skin is a whole orgasm. I mean, the body is the largest organ,
Right.
erotic organ. It just don't stop. So I think it's so much stuff that we can do if we don't focus on genitalia.
I remember I was talking to a friend of mine. This is years ago, and I remember she was dating this one guy, and she said that her previous boyfriend had a big penis and the new boyfriend had a smaller one but made her orgasm. And I'm like, well, so what was it? He says, oh, just the way he talked to me, the way he touched me, the way
Mm-hmm.
you know like he would take off my coat, but for some, I would feel a finger on my neck and that would give me a tingle. So all this stuff that she would tell me, I'm like, oh wow, that's amazing. And I remember hearing that from other women. It's the way the guy makes her feel. um how much does touching outside of the bedroom, like if you guys are in a couch or watching a movie or you just
Touching is very important because
yeah.
that's that connection.
Okay.
And non-demanding touch is very important. So you touching me to connect, not just always touching to have sex.
Right.
So non-demanding touch to co-regulate each other, a
Hmm.
hug or caress, um, holding my hand, massages. I think that is making my body feel more safe
Hmm.
and everything. But if you only touching me to have sex, that's where it gets a little bit tricky because you're not connecting with me. You just want to do something to me.
I see. How important is communication then? Go ahead. I can see. Yeah, in terms of
Communication is like the golden thread.
Right.
through
But is it
everything.
hard that for men to communicate what they want or a woman what they want in the bedroom? Is that a touchy subject, especially if you guys are a new couple that just started dating?
I think it is. I think it is, but that's why we got to create safety and
Mhm.
connection before the conversation. I don't think that's the first date conversation.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, and a lot of times we feel like what hinders relationships is we feel like we should know.
Oh,
So we
wow.
don't want the
Yes.
shame and guilt because we don't want to seem as naive. You know, a
Mm,
lot of women, like you said, don't have orgasms, but I'm not gonna let you know that I'm gonna fake it. You
right.
know, a lot of men got performance anxiety, but they come off a macho because I don't want you to know, so I gotta fake it. So I think communication is very important, but also emotional regulation so you can be yourself because sometimes we set ourselves up for failure.
Yeah, I think well, you are 100% right. I just think like sometimes I talk to some women and they don't want to teach a man anything. They say, "Oh, he should know." But every
Yeah,
woman is different. And I'm like,
yeah,
what works for one woman might not work for the next one. And I'm talking to my younger friends that are like 20, 30 years younger than me.
yeah,
They said, "No, I'm not teaching. He should know." What do you
yeah.
say to Yes, go ahead, Renelle,
I
because I'm
say,
not
and I think that the word that throws people off is teaching. I'm not
mm,
going to teach, but I'm a share.
okay.
So I would like to share with my partner, or we can explore together what my erogenous zones are, what turn me on, what make me orgasm, what make me not. I'm sharing with them a part and being vulnerable with them. I'm not teaching them how to get a woman aroused, how to do that. I think that the word throws everybody off. But if you don't share with your partner what you need, they will go to their arsenal and do what they did to everybody else. And then if they do that, you're going to be upset or, discouraged. So I think changing the word because share with people because you should also be sharing your wants, needs, and desires and checking in like every quarter because they change. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking sharing, like sharing me how to love you. I think teach me how to love you is people say that in a sexy way. But
Yeah.
I think that's what it is because I want to learn from you. But I would just say from that, sharing or just understand what that means. It's not mean you taking them to school. It means telling them about yourself. Intimacy you see. Intimacy I see. Letting them into what makes you,
Right.
right? Not teaching you how to love a woman. I think that's the misconception.
No, perfect. I love that. Just sharing. Because if and and I use the word even with my friends, teach, 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 and and all my female friends say, I'm not teaching anything. I'm not teaching it, but I love it how you changed it to sharing, and that's definitely a better word. Do you see in this generation, the younger generation, that like some of the girls I know and some of the guys I know that are in their 20s, they both feel that the courting is pretty much almost dead. That it's becoming more of a transactional type of relationship out there. Are you seeing that
I think
more?
I think I think it depends on the culture, and I think it
Okay.
depends on what your learning mechanism. I see more people are being fluid and dating who they want to.
Yeah.
I see more people talking about non-monogamy and
Yeah.
monogamy. I see more people being fluid where they can have sex with a man or a woman. They do
Hmm.
who they love. I see a different thing. I don't see anybody like saying some people are free with their bodies, right?
Right.
Like I don't have to uh, be in a relationship with you to have sex. So I think that they are widening the boundaries exactly what it can be and then
Yeah.
making it their own. Where we had these strict guidelines, I see them as saying sex is love, and they create the definition, not anybody else.
Wow. Okay. And I definitely heard that where more people are freer to have sex with whatever they want and or whoever they want. And I see the non-monogamy also. And I guess like you said, it's definitely the different cultures and all that. So for you, Renelle, going forward, like what you hope to create in terms of for new couples, let's say, for lack of a better phrase, but what you hope to create for new couples when it comes to, intimacy, getting to know each other? What are you looking to do and help?
I am saying that sometimes don't go in um just expecting stuff. I think leave
Mm,
room for exploration. I think sometimes we go into these relationships and we looking for guides. I think kind of have like a blueprint of what you want, what you need and desire, because then sometimes we a sponge and we do what the other piece or people person wants or needs instead of what we want and need. So I say
mm,
that identity of self, understanding yourself a little bit more. I think that assisted. I think defining what intimacy, desire, and sex mean to you.
right.
You name it, because sex mean different thing to different people. Everybody don't get pleasure from sex. So I think seeing what pleasure means to you and what brings you pleasure. I think when we talk about sex, understanding the different types of sex you like, and then when you with a partner, coming up with a sexual menu,
Oh, talk
right?
more about that. The sexual menu. What
I
like?
think a sexual menu is good because sometimes we only think about sex and there's only one way to have sex, and that's penetrative sex. I think
Ah,
having a sexual menu will help, especially with these times. Like, what's on the menu? I want to have sex, but I'm stressed. What did that look like? What did it look like when I'm sick? What did it look like when I'm depressed? What does it look like when the kids are around? What does it look like when I'm on vacation? What did it look like when mom and dad is in the other room and we're at their house? I think having really a sexual menu so we just don't have to have that one type of sex or no sex at all.
oh wow. Okay. That's the first I ever heard that, a sexual menu. I love that. You know, I just think right now, even for older couples, I don't know if you deal what age ranges you deal with, but with older couples, are their sexual needs the same when they were younger, or they as they get older that changes? What in your experience, how does that work when couples are maybe over 50, 45, 50, 55?
Well, I'm over 50,
Oh
so I
shoot,
can
I never would
speak.
have get that. I thought you was like late 30s, early 40s. Holy
I'm
shit.
I'm over 50,
No,
so
you
I
look
can just
amazing.
thank you. So I can just speak to that. I think
Okay.
it really depends on, well, how were their growing up in suppression or exploration.
Mhm.
You have some people who just getting connected with their sexual self. And so that's more exploration. And then you have people who know their sexual self and get freedom. So I don't think age has anything to do with it. I think that experience and what they're really ready to explore right now. Because age don't equal wisdom. Because you can have I have people I used to have when I worked at a sexual resource store. I
Mhm.
remember a lady was like 80 coming in because her husband died, and she came in for a tour and said she ready to have an orgasm. Right.
Wow.
So I think that that's depression, is that she probably had to fake it her whole life or never been able to explore orgasm. So I
Mm.
think one thing is based on how you were. Age may give you the freedom to explore more because you don't have to worry about childbirth or anything like that. And you can be more vocal. So I think it all depends on how do you view sex. I mean, even I see people over 50 still have strong religious beliefs that they can't even say the word.
Oh,
So I would just say it depends on your upbringing and what you want to explore and what you give yourself permission to do right now.
right. Okay. No, again, that's a different take. And Renelle, you look amazing. I swear. I thought you were in your 30s, early 40s. I never would have
No,
guessed 50. Um,
no.
do you think, again, in your practice, are men just stubborn into not getting to know what a woman wants? Go ahead. I see that look in your eye. You can be honest.
I don't think men are stubborn. I think some men have a lot of ego. Because we
Okay.
dealing with societal narrative. We dealing with exes. We
Yeah.
dealing with women who scorn. Men get betrayed too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think depending on the man, they coming in with a lot of different stuff. So I would look beneath the stubborn and see where that's coming from, right?
Mm,
Some men just think performing is sex because they have watched porn all the time and
yeah.
nobody there to talk to them, and the women fake it so they think it's okay. So I would look at, I don't think they're stubborn. I think sometimes it depends on if they're open to learn or they feel like they learn the right way, something just wrong with the woman and not them. So I would just say their ability to explore and create change. I think sometimes stubbornness is defensiveness
Okay.
also. So when somebody's stubborn, I just think I look underneath all of that and see what are they hiding or some fantasies they want to talk about. So I can see stubbornness sometimes, but that's some mean to me more curiosity of why it exists.
Okay, no, that definitely makes sense. Well, first of all, Renelle, thank you so much for being on People on Dating. I could talk to you for like another hour. And before I let you go, anything else you want to promote? Anything else you want to add? Any
No, it's just
Oprah
like,
talks, TED
yeah,
talks, anything like that?
no, just keep in contact with me. I do therapy in Arizona. I'm based in Arizona and Wisconsin, so therapy there.
Okay.
I do coaching worldwide. I do have my pleasure agendas. I got one from
Ah,
after betrayal, and then I have one for just couples to keep pleasure on agenda. And I have a
okay.
lot of these conversations in a planner. So I take all what I talk about and put it in a planner so you can sit down and discuss it and get the education. So I would just find me on social media and just let me know what you need. I'll try to help you.
Yeah, anything you want to promote in terms of website or
Oh,
anything?
so you can find
Yeah.
me. So I got Kaleidoscope Services, LLC.org. That's for therapy.
Okay.
But far as for Instagram, if you are dealing with betrayal, I got Affair Aftercare. And
Okay.
if not, I got Noir Sex Therapist where I talk everything on how to heal about betrayal and love again. So I'm really focused on healing people so they can get pleasure.
No, that sounds good. And before I let you go, one last word about um, sex and what makes a couple get together. So if you could say a last word on that.
I think that is what makes a couple work good is
Yeah.
safety.
Okay. That's the
Feeling
biggest thing.
safe, feeling
Mhm.
safe with each other and
Okay.
not weaponize and not criticize. So I'm gonna say safety makes a good sex life.
All right. Sounds good. Well, Renelle, again, thank you so much for being on People on Dating and taking time out of your busy schedule. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.